Sunday. It's R&R in the morning, and we are early birds faux sure. He's Rudy. I'm Rob, James Pledger, and joined by RJ Ochoa, he of Blogging the Boys, set an alarm for us as well. Morning, RJ.
Morning, guys. Great to be with you. Happy travels, happy safe flight later on today. Rudy, if you watch a little movie or something on the laptop, take it off the plane. Don't leave it on there. Make sure you put it back in your bag when you're done.
Will do. Did you ever make the trip with them? I know you did some training camps and some Super Bowls. Did you ever do Philly with them?
No, he has not.
Okay.
I never did, but I imagine that Rob irons his clothes a little bit differently in the city of brotherly love.
We talked about that yesterday.
He just,
you know what, RJ?
Yeah.
Rudy's an ironer as well.
Whoa.
I'm a country boy. We iron.
I know, but like it's a sequence. Like, you know how like every cliche sitcom of the 90s, it's like settle on down to the bar and like let me pour you something. Like that's Rob at the ironing board. Like you can't take that from him. That's when you really find yourself
Come here,
across
kids.
the ironing board from
Gather around the ironing board and let me spin you a yarn. Is OBJ going to be a Cowboy or not?
I don't think so. Right now,
wow.
I'm leaning that direction personally. I know a lot of people feel like this is a failure. I feel like this is because of the hype and everything. I feel like this proves the Cowboys have control. They have self-control. They can go out for a night.
Things have changed.
Have a beer.
Yes.
Yeah, they can go have a beer, then they can go home. You know what I mean?
I like that analogy.
Have to really kind of, tear it up like they did in college or anything like that. Like you guys might, one night this weekend. But that, I think that says a lot. That says a lot about their level of maturity and where they are as a stable football team, not just a business operation.
I love that analogy because, again, we could go back to the Roy Williams, the Terrell Owens, Galloway. We could go on and on about these signings that they would have normally made. Jerry normally makes this signing on Monday when he walks in the building. So I love that analogy. RJ, I've asked Coach McCarthy about this and other people. I don't know where you come out on it. Mike McCarthy has spoke so glowingly about his offensive line, how he loves them. He's never had this type of continuity while he's been the Cowboys head coach. Am I crazy for saying, well, then why not leave it alone and let Big Tyron get in where he fits in instead of just giving him his job back as soon as he's cleared?
Rudy, I know I came in guns blazing with the laptop thing. That is crazy. That is truly crazy.
That's fine. I'll be on the island with that.
But I think actually, if I'm a big fan of making decisions when you're not emotionally compromised, right? Because when you
look at Ronaldo, that was a great decision to bench him. So sometimes you got to do what's best for the team, right? You're a soccer guy. You saw what happened the other day with Portugal.
As Pledge knows, when Eric Ten Hag benched him at Manchester United, it was the crime of the century. But when Portugal does it, it's totally allowed. But anyway,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm a big fan of making decisions when you're not emotionally compromised, and I think and I'm a big fan of trusting yourself when you're not emotionally compromised. And if you follow that line of thought at the beginning of all of this at training camp, the objective was Tyron Smith at left tackle and Tyler Smith at left guard. So you can't allow yourself to become emotionally swayed like, hey, well, look, why rock the boat now? No, this was when you sat down, when you said, what is the best version of this team that we can assemble, it involves Tyron Smith at left tackle.
And here they sit. Now, how long is too long to wait? Or is there too long to wait?
I mean, they're over here like he could play tomorrow. And I mean, it's, the Dallas Morning News wrote about how he physically just destroyed people yesterday. I mean, there's a world where this Philly game on Christmas Eve doesn't have the exact ramifications that we wanted to. If the Eagles don't lose between now and then, it will take just a percent of juice out of it. But it's a huge game. And so I think, I don't know if you want to insert Tyron cold there, which would stand to reason if they're not going to play him Sunday, that he would make his debut next week in Jacksonville. That would be my guess. I mean, if you're trying to read between the lines and read the tea leaves, next week in Jacksonville, where the Cowboys are going to play for the first time since 2006, by the way.
Wow. RJ, what can you take if as the Cowboys or as a fan from these 3 weeks, from the Colts, who are bad, the Texans are awful, Jacksonville's still too young to know how to finish. Can you take anything from it, even if they're putting up 50 burgers, or is this just like, hey, this ain't Philly, this ain't San Fran? Can you take anything from playing 3 bad teams in a row?
I love the, kind of presentation of the Jaguars, because that is a real thing. Like, you don't know what you're doing. And I think, the Cowboys had that effect a little bit in the opposite way with Dak and Zeke their rookie year. Like, they were too young and naive to know how difficult what they were doing was. The Jaguars just don't know how serious it is, obviously. And so I think what you can take away is, like, they are serious. These are serious things. Like, these games influence things. And, if we play with our food too much, we can lose. We can enter the fourth quarter with things a little bit up in the air against the Colts. And so I think, it's impactful, and it's important to realize we can exert our will. And we can turn games into a decision. Instead of a contest, it is a decision that we are making, that we're taking this game, we're winning this game. And not every team has that fifth gear, and they do. And so I think that's your biggest takeaway is you can be the team that is hunted. You can be the big show in town. You can flirt with Odell. You can do all these things. But, when it comes down to brass tacks, you can lock in for 3.5 hours to play a football game and beat somebody else.
RJ Ochoa of Blogging the Boys. Follow him at RJ Ochoa. And of course, if you're not reading Blogging the Boys, are you really a Cowboy fan?
No, you're not.
Let's talk about the defense for a second and the names that we're just learning. Guys like Damone Clark and Deron Bland, and the way that we're seeing these young guys kind of start to plug holes. I'm looking at the Pro Football Focus grades on defense. My gosh. How do you attribute the backup status and how well these guys are playing? And do you know anything about this the new cornerback they did pick up yesterday?
Mackenzie Alexander.
Yeah.
He's a body. It's what you need right now. It's December, but Damone Clark. I've eaten a lot of crow this season, and the Cowboys have surprised a lot of people. And they took Damone Clark in the 5th round, and he had the surgery. And
so he had spinal fusion. What exactly did he have?
Same surgery that Tiger Woods had.
Wow! Oh my gosh! And he's playing football. Well, golf, but your back's important too. But go
younger.
Ahead. Right.
Yeah. But so he had that. And you hear it all the time, like, oh, you would have been a day 2 pick. Blah blah. But he had this surgery, and the Cowboys trusted their medical evaluation. And I thought, this was Jalen Smith 2.0 for lack of a better term. Like, this would be a redshirt year, and he'll come in. And they said, no, we think he can play in December. And I thought that was all fluff, but he's not just playing. He is a key contributor on defense. In fact, he has rendered Jabril Cox kind of meaningless. And I never would have anticipated that. Deron Bland, Fresno State. Seriously, like, how is that possible? Like, how are you, rolling dudes out of there to play at such a high level? He had a pick against the Commanders earlier this season, and everybody kind of clamored for him to start in the slot. And I thought that was silly. I thought there's no way he can kind of hold this up. It was a flash in the pan sort of thing. Jordan Lewis goes down, and obviously he had an amazing game. But the Cowboys have their whole draft class. With the exception of their 3rd round pick, Jalen Tolbert, obviously Tyler Smith is balling, Ferguson is balling, Damone Clark, Deron Bland. Even their undrafted free agents. Malik Davis had a touchdown on Sunday night. Marquise Bell is on the roster. It isn't getting playing time, but they have found a high number of contributors early on. It really is impressive.
First of all, Sam Williams is going to be a star. By year 3
as well.
He's going to be a star. He's not going to just be a dog. He's already a dog. I think he's going to be a star. RJ, have you counted out the 49ers, and do you only see the Eagles as the only thing that can keep them from Arizona?
It's hard. Would Superman ever count out Lex Luthor, right? Like, that's kind of what the Niners are, to the Cowboys. They hold the kryptonite.
Yeah.
But in a weird way.
Well, what do you feel that what's that kryptonite? Is it their defense, or is it the Kyle Shanahan? What's their kryptonite for the Cowboys?
On the surface, I think it's their defense.
Okay.
But I think ultimately it's their relentlessness. They're the most relentless team in the NFL. And to be fair, that kind of forged this Cowboys team. They were too soft. They were much softer than the 49ers in the playoffs, and they got punched in the mouth. And instead of kind of pouting about it, they decided to be, forged in the darkness. They truly are the bane of the Niners' darkness. And so, it's difficult. I want to see them more before I feel comfortable counting them out, but obviously their ceiling is much lower, with Brock Purdy or whatever the case may be. And the Eagles, I know Rudy, this upsets you, but like, the Cowboys are a better team than them. They're right now. They're a better football team than
RJ. You throw that in when we only have a minute left.
But But like that is my true opinion. They are playing better football right now than the Eagles. If and when they play, obviously they will on Christmas Eve. It is the Cowboys' game to lose. However, the Eagles have an advantage that they built up earlier in the season with regards to the division race and the number one seed. So I mean, but I trust the Cowboys to beat them right now.
While I disagree with you, I'll accept it because I know you're not a homer. You call it as how it is. Rob is too. Only homer on this station is Jason Minix. Go ahead, Rob.
There's one. Well,
Rob ain't a homer. RJ, you're not a homer. Jason Minix is a homer. I can't talk football with him, but Rob is fair. RJ, you're fair. Go ahead, Rob.
He is indeed fair. RJ Ochoa, blogging the boys. Real quick, is Kelvin Joseph ready for this?
Great question.
I mean, no. But Tyler Smith wasn't ready for this, you know. Sam Williams wasn't ready for this. Brett Maher wasn't ready for this. Damone Clark wasn't ready for this. I mean, in a lot of ways, CeeDee Lamb wasn't ready for this. Cooper Rush wasn't ready for this. Mike McCarthy wasn't ready for this. And so he's not. And I would bet against him. But I mean, the house owns me. Like I've lost over. I've doubled down and tripled down. And so They believe in him, and they've earned the benefit of the doubt as far as I'm concerned. Last thing, Jason Minix, definitely a homer for all 17 of his NHL teams.
There you have it. RJ Ochoa, blogging the boys.
My guy.
Hey, take care, my friend. We'll talk to you next week.
Have a safe flight. Get the peanuts.
No,
Appreciate you.
We will.